as the crow flies on the Vance Crow podcast.
Kevin Edwards, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, man.
So you are a longtime friend of mine that I don't see very often because you live this wild life in Las Vegas. The last time we ran into one another, you were a dealer in Vegas, but are you still doing that now?
I'm not dealing anymore. Now I'm bartending. It's been about a year. I switched over. And that, I guess, is basically in the same boat as far as the service industry is completely shutting down in Las Vegas. I mean, this is definitely unprecedented. Never seen anything like this.
What does it even look like to say that the Las Vegas is shutting down? Like I can't even imagine that. On Christmas morning, it's still live and going. So what's it like if no one's there?
Yeah, I just to see for myself, I went and drove down the strip yesterday just because I wanted to see what it was like. And there was a surprising amount of traffic, cars, but there was hardly anyone anywhere. And all of the lights, most of the main building lights are shut off. The big marquee boards are still going, and they say things like, "We can't wait to see you again soon." There's a hashtag Vegas Stronger going around everywhere, saying, we're going to get through this together and all that crap. But I'm guessing that the amount of traffic that was on the strip was people doing the exact same thing that I was doing.
I mean, you're talking about a city that didn't even shut down when they had a mass capacity shooter shoot at people. The city kept going.
Nothing has ever shut down Las Vegas, ever. I mean, 3 days ago, we were all still joking around about the overreaction of everything. And all of a sudden, within a 20-minute news announcement, we found out at 5 p.m. that at midnight that night, none of us were working anymore.
So what does that mean for a guy like you? You're not working anymore. What do you do?
Mountain bike. Just really good for exercise and social distancing. There's nobody else out there. It's just me and my buddies out on the trails. There's been a bunch of people out hiking and stuff with their kids now because everyone's trying to find stuff to do with their kids since they're all home.
And so you're still getting together with your buddies. Are you guys keeping 6 feet apart? Or are you clapping high fives and giving each other hugs?
No, when you're biking, you're pretty much apart at least 6 feet the whole time. We kind of do the ride by fist bump or elbow sometimes, but for the most part, you're out there. You're well beyond 6 feet away from anybody else anyway.
Yeah, I was talking to some of my buddies in the ag community, and they were saying about how at this point a handshake means you really care about somebody because you're exchanging what could be potentially either 3 weeks of a lot of pain and sickness, or you could be spreading a disease. It's a totally different thing. And just like you said, a week ago it wasn't like that.
Yeah, went out. Like I said, when I drove out the other day, I was going to meet my dad, picking up a gun from him because, like I said, 3 days ago, we really didn't think any of this was all that serious. And now I'm at the point where I want to make sure that I've got home protection in case things really start going crazy. I mean, if there was enough morons out there to buy up all the toilet paper, which is meaningless, then what happens when all those morons start really getting desperate when they're not working anymore and probably aren't going to for a couple months? So anyway, now's a good time to have a gun. And while I was out there driving up the strip, I turned on my Lyft app because I also drive for Lyft and Uber. And I didn't really think anything would happen. Within 2 minutes, I got pinged to pick up a ride. And I was shocked. and it turned out to be a guy that works in the corporate offices for MGM Resorts. And I picked him up, and he was carrying out his computer, laptop, everything, because all of them were being sent home to work from home. So I ended up giving a Lyft ride, and I had a bottle of hand sanitizer in the car. So as soon as he got in, I was like, "Hey, free hand sanitizer for every passenger today." He was like, "Thank you." So yeah, I mean, it's everybody's still kind of pretty lighthearted about it, I guess, because we haven't seen. I just today heard of someone who knows someone who knows someone who got infected. And that's the first I've ever heard of anyone actually catching it here in the Vegas area.
And so because of that, are you thinking, I mean, you were talking about joking around and being willing to pick people up. Is this hype? Is this overhype? Or is this real? Is this the right thing we should be doing right now?
Oh, all the shutdowns and stuff?
Yeah.
No, I think it's real. Once I started seeing the stuff from Italy, and then I started reading articles, one in particular from a guy who does data analytics, as a profession. And he was talking about how he, several days before everyone was told to stay home, he started keeping his family home because he ran the numbers, and he gave he used the numbers from Vegas at the time. The article was written on March 12th. And he gave it as the number of cases we had confirmed on March 12th. If we shut down by March 15th versus what happens if we shut down by, I think it was March 23rd. And the difference, if you just do the data analytics, was 160,000 critical cases versus 1.6 million.
Oh, man.
Every 3 days it was doubling in numbers. And once I read through that whole article and realized the numbers and what he's talking about and how people aren't aware that it's spreading, that you have it basically for roughly 5 days before you even show symptoms, and you're spreading it that whole time, then it started to make sense to me. Right? Okay, we have to shut this down because, oh my God, casinos are just a breeding ground of germs anyway.
Yeah, you're just touching all those chips and all those cards and drinks, and you're in the restroom, all kinds of stuff.
Picking up their cards, and yeah, so, and of course, a large percentage of the people that goes to the casinos are the elderly.
Oh, that's a good point.
And, talk about spreading it through a bad group. Anyway, so it very much makes sense to me now.
So, Kevin, talk to me about the coworkers that you have. When they found out, hey, I'm not going to be working, what does this mean for them and their livelihoods and what they're going to be doing? I mean, like, what is a? I mean, you don't work in that industry just because it's fun. You do it because you want the money, you need the money. Your life is set up around that. What happens now?
Yeah, we're all kind of laughing and joking about it because it's too scary to think about otherwise. I mean, they're talking about bailing out industries, the airlines and all the whatever. But our industry, so there's a bunch of companies that have said we're going to go ahead and pay you your wages. MGM has said that. Several of the major casinos have said we're going to go ahead and keep paying your paychecks.
Wow.
Yes, which sounds really nice until you realize that 75% of our income is probably on tips.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Sure.
man.
No matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of bailout they give us. It doesn't matter anything. People in the service industry are losing their homes period, at the end of this. They're losing their cars. We have no way to recover. So we're just laughing. We're screwed. Totally.
And that has to be, I mean, on top of feeling screwed and then sitting at your house just waiting for it to end, right? And every day you wait longer, it's more credit card debt you're racking up, more expenses you're running through.
And they've said, like the Nevada Power Company, Southwest Gas, and the water company, they've all said they're not going to shut services off, for lack of payment. But none of them have said, we're not going to charge you. So great. So we're done with this thing in 3 months. And now all of a sudden the power company goes, okay, you owe us $1,700 now. If you don't pay that, we're going to shut you off in 30 days because now the rule doesn't apply.
Yeah, and it's not like you can live in Las Vegas without power. I mean, maybe you guys don't have the brutal winters, but you can't live in the middle of summer in Vegas. There are a lot of places you'd be uncomfortable to live, but I don't think you actually can live in Las Vegas without air conditioning. Can you?
No, there's no way. I mean, we get a 3 to 5 week stretch every summer where it never drops below 100 degrees. Even at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's 101. So if power gets shut off, then yeah, you can't be in a house.
So how do you see this playing out? One of the questions I've been asking everybody is, what does the world look like in 2 weeks? Because I can't imagine further out than 2 weeks. But what do you think? 2 weeks from now, where are you at? Where are your coworkers at? What are they doing with their time? Where are they at financially? What's going on?
I don't think in 2 weeks it's going to be much of a difference because the flood of bills hasn't hit yet. I think in 2 months it's going to be a big issue. The major casinos have said at this point, they've said you're off work until April 30th.
Whoa, I didn't know it was that long. Wow.
So at the end of April, then this town is going to look a whole lot different as far as the vibe that is being felt right now. Like I said, everyone is still just kind of joking around and laughing about it because we're just not working. But as far as I'm concerned, and I imagine most everybody else has to be thinking this, well, I'm not working, so I'm not making any money, so I'm not paying any bills. I'm just not. I mean, I even had to contact my ex-wife and go, I hope you understand this means that I can't afford to pay child support. So in 3 months, if this goes on that long, I may have a warrant out for my arrest because I can't afford to pay child support.
Holy good God. And then there's going to be a lot of men in that position, men that have been working hard for years to keep up with their child support, to do the right thing. And I mean, you can't, I mean, I don't know how anyone could have predicted this and then to be in that position, because it's not like you're not choosing to work. It's you literally can't. And if you do decide to go work, you're potentially endangering people.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing I had a friend that pointed out that eventually we'll have a test that you'll be able to take it. Maybe it'll be a blood test that'll say whether you have the antibodies that show whether you had COVID-19 or not, whether you had the virus. And once you have that sheet, then you'll be free. It'll be like, oh, now I can go work. But you don't want to get coronavirus during this first wave of hospitalization, because the hospitals don't know how to handle this problem. No one knows how to handle this. So if you go into the system and you're not, and you end up needing a ventilator or an ICU bed, you really want to avoid being in that first wave. But that means you're completely isolated from work for what, 3-4 months? Who can handle this?
At least, yeah. I mean, what if at the end of April they go, okay, we've got it under control. let's open this thing back up. And all the casinos open back up, and all of a sudden, 2 new cases show up.
Yeah.
They instantly close the entire strip again.
Yeah, how can you count on that?
Yeah.
So as you're looking around at the stimulus package that the president is putting forward, sending $3,000 to a family or $1,000 to an adult, what do you think? How do you feel about that?
I had my biggest concern about the economy, the stimulus package, whatever they're going to do for us. My biggest concern is they're going to say, okay, we'll give you this extra money, whatever, but they're not going to stop the bills. That doesn't, $1,000 isn't going to do me any good if my bills keep going for 6 months.
Right.
It won't work. My biggest fear is that they will do like they did in the housing crisis, where they give a bank $50 million rather than go, hey, bank, let's take $50 million worth of your mortgage holders' payments and pay those to the people. And then, so we're going to help the people out, but the bank also gets their money. That, in my impression, in my opinion, is what caused the whole recession in 08, 09. They just handed money out to the banks and the big corporations, and they let all the public fall. So I appreciate now that they're at least saying, okay, let's put money in the hands of the people. But if they don't stop the bills from accruing, then what's $1,000 going to do for me if 6 months down the road I owe $8,000 and it all comes due at once?
Yeah, and as soon as the credit card companies start getting the sense that the people that are using their credit to extend their ability to buy groceries and pay for these bills, as soon as they start to come to the conclusion, we may not get paid back, or we may not get paid back for 5-10 years, what happens when they start slamming the credit card shut? Like that becomes scary to me.
Yep. Yeah.
So, Kevin, I want to thank you for being so candid and for jumping on here and doing this. One of the last question I'd like to leave with is, I think society's rules are going to get rewritten because of this. And I don't know whether they'll be written better or worse or whatever. But as the rules are being rewritten, what do you hope that people know about what people like you and your coworkers and your family members are going through that you want them to consider while they're rewriting the rules?
That is an interesting question. There was a great post that showed up. I mean, I'm sure it's been circulating around for a few days, but talked about how already in the last few days, air pollution is going down, water pollution is going down. People are helping each other. All these funds are coming to the aids of people that are in need and all this stuff. And it said that Mother Earth is healing herself. We are the virus. And I was like, that kind of rings a little true. Ouch.
That's heavy, man.
And so I think if we're going to rewrite the rules, then somehow, some way, money and profit cannot be the number one thing that drives the actions of the world. And I don't know if that can ever be rewritten. Because if that's not the case, then we have to, as an entire world population, we have to get rid of greed. And I don't know if we can do that as a species.
And as a guy that's been a car dealer in Las Vegas, that is really saying something, right? You've watched greed bring people back to the table again and again and again when they had no business doing that.
Yeah. And I've watched the companies I've worked for, the casino companies I've worked for. I've watched them over the last 18 years that I've been here and dealing in the companies. I've watched those companies transition from caring deeply about their employees, making sure everyone enjoys their job, has a good time, because the focus was on making sure that all of the players, customers, guests had the most amazing experience they could have. As long as they did that, everybody made money and it was fun. And I've watched that transition through the corporate model of every department has to be profitable. Everything has to make money all by itself. If not, then your head's going to roll and your head's going to roll and your head's going to roll. And no one I know that still works in the casino business that was working there when I was 18 years ago enjoys it anymore. No one. It has become so singularly focused on profit that they have destroyed the entertainment of it. And that's a sad, sad thing, because even living here and working here, the casino used to be a way that you could kind of escape from reality. It's a Disneyland for adults, you know. That was the whole idea why Vegas exists. But it's the whole reason people come here and have such bad behavior.
Disneyland for adults.
It counts in Vegas. It's all, and it was fun like that. And when I talk to the people that have been here since the 60s and 70s and 80s, oh my God, the stories of what an amazing place this used to be when the mafia ran it. I mean, everybody loved it. Everybody made money. Everybody lived a dream life. It is crazy. Like, literally, the stories, everyone that was here in those times smiles as they look back on when the mafia ran everything.
But that may be nostalgia, you know. That may be, you know. I think there are a lot of people that think that about farming, and then you go back to farming in the 1970s, and it sucked because you were pulling weeds by hand. But I take your point, Kevin. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it, brother. Stay safe out there. I know you are a good-hearted guy that knows our joint friend Court Winnicky. So stay safe out there, man.
It's all. Once we can be closer than 6 feet, then let's all go out on the Lombard, take a boat ride.
I'd love that, brother. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, see you, Vance.